The animal's designation was grief of nations, not a name. My people do not name weapons. A name is a thing you give an equal, and grief of nations was not an equal. It was the last argument, the one you bring into a room when you have decided the negotiation is already over, and you simply have not told the other side yet. I was its handler for 19 years. I have the scars to prove I was good at it. In that time, it broke the composure of 41 sapient beings across 9 species, not by attacking. It never had to. It would simply enter and lower its head and look at you. And something in the older than thought part of every mind that has ever been prey would stand up and scream and run. 41 times, it never failed. And then we brought it into a room to break one small human. And the human looked at the most dangerous thing my civilization had ever bred, and did the one thing 19 years had not prepared me for. She got down on the floor to be closer to it. You must understand my people, or you will think this is a story about a monster. And it is not. It is a story about a door. And we did not know it was a door. We are an old, careful species. We came apart on a world that respected only strength, and we learned the first and oldest lesson of every predator civilization, that the universe is a hierarchy, and your place in it is set by what you can make afraid. We are not cruel. We are ranked. Everything we love from above or below. A master, a servant, a tool, a threat. There is no other shape a relationship can take. There never has been. It is not a philosophy to us. It is simply the way the world is built. The way water runs downhill. So when the human envoy came to negotiate the mining rights to a contested belt, and came alone, unarmed, without even the courtesy of a fleet at her back, we understood it the way we always understand it. As a weakness we were meant to be too polite to mention, and the envoy general decided to mention it. We brought grief of nations into the chamber on 19 meters of chain. The human's name was Oyun. She was small, even for a human, weathered, with a face like cracked ground and eyes that did not widen when the doors opened, and the last argument came through them, dragging its chain, filling the room with the smell that empties bowels and bladders and resolve. The envoy general set the line he had prepared.
We find, envoy, that terms are agreed more swiftly once both parties understand the true balance of power in the room.
And Oyun of Earth looked at the monster for a long moment, and then she smiled. Not the bared teeth threat smile. We had studied that one, the other human expression, the soft one, the one we had never been able to decode. And she said quietly, to the beast, not to us, Oh, look at you. Who did this to you? Here is what was not in our files, because it is invisible, the way the true things are always invisible. And because we had studied human weapons and never once thought to study their homes, Oyun came from a people of the high coal grass on Earth, who for 4,000 years had done a thing that no other species in the galaxy has ever done or could ever conceive of doing. They went out onto the killing step, and they found the golden eagle, an apex predator, a thing that takes wolves, that could open a human throat without effort. And they did not kill it, and they did not cage it, and they did not break it. They asked it to hunt beside them, and it said yes. For 4,000 years her bloodline had lifted the most dangerous animal of their sky onto a bare arm and fed it from their hands and slept in its presence, and called it not tool and not master, but the only word my language still does not have a clean translation for, a word that means the one who chooses to stay. Partner. She had been raised understanding, in her marrow, a shape of relationship that my entire civilization had gone 40,000 years without discovering exists. Not above, not below, beside. So when Oyun got down onto the floor of that chamber, lowering herself deliberately beneath the eye line of the thing that had unmade 41 minds, she was not being brave, and she was not being a fool. She was doing the oldest work her people knew. She was reading an animal, and what she read in Grief of Nations in 3 seconds was the thing 19 years had taught me never to look at. That underneath the weapon we had made of it, it was afraid, all the time. That it had never, in its whole life, been looked at by anything that was not also afraid. That the lowered head we had bred and beaten into a threat had always been underneath the posture of a creature that had been alone since birth. She held out one open hand, palm up, empty, and she made a low sound in her throat. A sound 4,000 years old. A sound for the eagle on the arm and the horse in the dark, and every frightened, enormous, dangerous thing her people had ever chosen to stand beside instead of above. And Grief of Nations, the last argument of my civilization, the breaker of 41 minds, lowered its terrible head the rest of the way down and put it in her hand. I have tried, in the years since, to explain to my own people what we watched, and I have failed every time, because the thing that happened has no place to stand in our language. Let me try it your way. We came into that room believing there were only 2 positions a being could hold toward the monster: above it as its master, or below it as its prey. Those were the only 2 doors. We had checked. For 40,000 years we had checked. And there had only ever been the 2. Oyun walked us through a 3rd door. One we had been standing in front of for our entire history, without ever seeing it was a door at all. She did not master the animal. She did not fall to it. She widened the word us until the animal was inside it. And the instant she did, the whole architecture of my civilization, the beautiful ranked hierarchy that water runs downhill, simply did not apply anymore. You cannot threaten someone with a weapon that has decided it is a person, and that the person across from it is family. The envoy general ordered the beast brought to heel. It did not so much as turn its head. In 19 years, I had never seen it disobey. It was not disobeying now. It had simply stopped being ours. In the length of one human breath, an animal my people had owned for its entire life had walked through Oyun's 3rd door and moved itself inside her circle, and would, I understood, with a cold that has never fully left me, now die for her as readily as it had once killed for us. And I understood the second thing a breath after the first. And it is the thing I flew home, unable to say, at my own table. This is what they did to everything. Every animal on their death world. The wolf at their fire. That became the creature that would die at their door. The wild horse that became the thing that carried their children. The falcon, the cat, the great patient beasts of their fields. Humanity did not climb to the top of their world's food chain. That is the story they let us believe. The teeth, the fear. It is not the true story. The true story is that they went to every apex predator on a planet that was trying to kill them, and one by one, over 10,000 years, they opened a hand and moved it inside the circle of us. They did not defeat the monsters of their world. They adopted them. And they were, I realized, sitting in that chamber with my chain gone slack in my scarred hands. They were, very patiently, very kindly, in exactly the way they had done it to the wolf, already doing it to us. The negotiation did not resume. There was nothing left to negotiate. You do not haggle with family, and you cannot frighten it. And the envoy general, who was not a stupid being, understood that the balance of power in the room had inverted so completely that the only dignified move left was to grant the mining rights and leave. I did not leave with them. I resigned my commission. I have no clean way to explain why, except that I had spent 19 years being the master of a frightened thing. And I had watched, in an afternoon, someone offer it the one thing I never had. Not dominion, not the chain, but a place beside. And I found that I could not go back to a world with only 2 doors in it, now that I had seen the third. I went to Earth. I asked to learn. Oyun's people took me out onto the high cold grass, and they showed me the eagle on the arm. And I finally understood the last thing. The thing that makes them the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and the reason no fleet will ever truly conquer them. At the end of the eagle's years, when it has hunted beside them a lifetime, fed from their hand, slept in their tents, the eagle hunter takes the most dangerous animal of their sky back out to the open steppe and opens their hands and lets it go. Free, owing nothing, kept by no chain, no cage, no rank. I asked Oyun why. Why spend a life loving a thing, only to open your hands at the end and let it fly away from you forever? And she looked at me with that soft, undecodable, 4,000-year-old smile. And she said the truest thing anyone has ever said to me about her species, because it was never ours to keep. You don't love something to own it. You love it, and then you open your hands. That's the whole trick. That's the only part that's real. The galaxy is so afraid of the human fist. It has no idea what is coming for it in the open hand. That is tonight's entry from the Deathworld Files. The one about the tug that answered the Mayday is on your screen. New stories Monday and Wednesday. Subscribe. And if something enormous and dangerous ever lowers its head to you, remember what species you are. Open your hand.